Where do I get leads? As a business coach and a strategist, where do the leads come from? Maybe you've had that question before. Maybe you've started your business coaching journey, or maybe you've been thinking about it. And it's a question that you likely have had at some point. How is it going to work in actually getting clients? All right. So, in this training, I'm going to break down in a pretty, it's just in a simple but short way how to think through this whole concept, this whole idea about getting leads. Now, step number one, and because so much about what we do is, from a psychological perspective. And I think one of the barriers that a lot of us have is that because we look at it and from a clinical perspective, leads, like, yes, lead generation matters. Yes, it's a thing. But when we couch it just about like lead generation, we miss the actual biggest part of the whole thing. They're not leads, they're people. They're people that we should be building relationships with. And sometimes when we set things up in a clinical way, we accidentally remove the human element. And so my encouragement, number one, is really, even though it is lead generation, we still use the term leads from time to time, but it's really about relationships. Like, where do I get relationships? Where am I going to connect with people? Where am I going to add value? Who is it and how can I connect to them to solve problems? What community group can I get around where I can be viewed as a thought leader, and how I'm able to help them could help change their life? That being through their business. Because when you do it correctly, you have the opportunity to bring such an amazing transformation to the life of a business owner and their families, the people who work for them and their families. So when we start number one by just saying, where do the leads come from? It really should be like, where do I add value? Where do I lean in? And where can I make an impact? That's one big thing I would really encourage you to just shift your mindset to just about getting leads to really about where can I lean in and add value. All right, so there's that. All right. The next thing is, if you're looking for a smoking gun, there isn't one. And I know the internet's full of lots of promises. But the reality is, all of the strategies that a business coach and a strategist would use, they all work. The question is, which one works for me? That really is where you start the conversation. Because if I was to coach you, and by the way, if you're not on our coaching team, we'd love to extend an invitation for you to just take a peek at what we do in our collaborative, done with you business coaching system. There's probably a button somewhere on this page or in the email that you were sent this training. But if I was to be coaching you and I was to say, hey, this is one of the best things that you could possibly do, whatever the strategy would be. Well, what if that's not the right connection to your gift mix? What if that type of strategy, while it worked for this person or that person, but what if it's just not your ballgame? Then I'm prescribing something to you that just will not have a match. So what we really want to do is, one, less about which ones work better, because they all work, and they all work is equally well when done correctly. I'm going to give some context to that in just a moment. But you want to, I'll give you an example. I just finished a training with over 55 plus coaches from around the world. And we developed a brand new workshop strategy that you can do with simplicity, get my words out, utilizing one of our tools that's called a simulation tool. It's a way to simulate business growth theory. It's a part of our training program. By the way, that's a part of what you get when you're a coach with us. We train every single day. We have different trainings you can be a part of. That one, we've not just trained, but we actually developed new tools. And it's utilizing that tool inside of a workshop scenario. By that, I mean getting 4 to 5, 6, 7 people, no more than that, around a table where you, as the strategist, are going to bring some value and show what it's like, meaning how to grow the business through what we call profit acceleration. Okay, if you're someone who's like, man, getting up in front of a number of people, it's just not my ballgame. I'm gonna talk till I'm blue in the face to attempt to convince you, and I might do that if I really think that you've got the chops and the gift mix and the skill set. I'm like, listen, you're crazy not to try this strategy. But in most cases, If that's not your thing, all the convincing in the world isn't going to be the right thing. So we have to make sure, it was one of the things that we do, is that we're matching up the strategies with how the person's built, how they're wired, what they like, what they don't. Here's another example. While we don't really preach and teach that much kind of cold calling, we do have some strategies that allow you to add value to people that you don't know, but they're not traditional cold calling as cold calling sounds. Well, some people hate the idea or anything like the idea of cold calling. So if I share with you a really cool strategy, we've got a number of new ones that enables you to really add value with people that you don't know yet. But if I just push that, probably won't be the right connection. So we have to make sure that in the beginning, as you're setting out and building your business coaching practice, momentum matters. So if you choose the wrong strategy, even if the strategy works well, Sarah did it, Bill did it, Dave did it, but if it causes friction, then it's the wrong strategy for you. And that's why it's important to understand that just because it's a good strategy by itself doesn't mean it's a slam dunk. Now, it could later on. You might improve your confidence. Maybe you take some classes on improving the way you speak. And so that all of a sudden now I like the idea because now I have no more imposter syndrome. I feel much more, I feel better. By the way, just a little side note, one of the best ways to improve your confidence is to go do the thing. So if you have a scarcity, or not scarcity, if you're scared, if you will, of that thing, the more times you go do it, you will erase that fear, period. Now, there are some people that, yes, like I don't like heights. Actually, I love heights, but they don't work for me, right? So if being on a stage, and that's a loose term, meaning being in front of people where they're all looking at you and you're delivering information, if that's just a no-go, then it's just a no-go. But let's take a peek at some of them. No doubt that workshops or things like workshops, fantastic strategy without question, period. Networking, by the way, is still, I know you hear the term, sounds boring to you. Let me encourage you just for a few moments. There's two things that's happened in the last 6 years that's actually elevated networking. You probably can guess what they are. One, COVID, right? Being locked down, not being able to socialize, social distancing, right? All the things that we were told. And what happened? We realized that, well, yes, I'm an introvert. I like to be at home, but I do miss people. And so being around people matters. There's still a thing about, shaking a hand and hugging a neck, like it's real. And so when you do it correctly, and that's what we have in our training, how to strategically show up, be prepared, ask the right questions, get the appointments or get referrals or whatever. If you just show up in a lame way, then you're going to get lame-like results. That's not what we're discussing. But when you do it right, lots of magic can happen, okay? And so the second thing is what? AI, right? I mean, we're in this weird vortex almost about just like, where are we going? And so once again, the one thing that AI cannot replace is shaking a hand, hugging the neck. So networking is fantastic, provided you're trained well, you have great execution plans upon what is the purpose and the point of networking. Let me explain. Most of the people that you're going to end up talking to from a business owner perspective, they aren't in the room. And you hear that, wait, what? Yeah. See, the purpose of network is to build your network, is to connect, is to refer, is to build prominence, is to, become someone that's kind of almost like a little mini celebrity in the community. It's not about you. It's just about the fact that you can build a consensus locally done well. Using the referral network, that's how you get connected to the people you need to get connected to. There you go. All right. So networking. Number 2, joint ventures. Fantastic. Takes a little time. You may say, well, when you say joint ventures, like what are you referring to? Well, so if I'm a business strategist and a coach, I could go partner with those people who already have business connections. It could be CPAs. It could be financial planners. It could be digital marketing companies. It could be loan officers that, let's say that loan officer does a lot of different work with, business owners, their homes and financing, commercial lenders. Like there's a lot of lists. When you set those relationships up correctly, you have it all built-in referral process. Now you can't just do 1, 2, or 3. You need a number of them. And again, when you have the right framework, the right training, the right tools, it can be an amazing journey. So you have workshops, you have networking, you have joint ventures. Then you have what I call sphere of influence. If you were to take out your phone right now you have somewhere in the neighborhood of 500 to 2,500 contacts. A solid percentage of them either are in business, they know somebody who is. You probably know somebody who owns a business. I know a lot of people who own a business. Technically, everyone to some degree knows a business owner or two. Okay. Well, when you engage with your sphere, and your sphere is your dentist, your neighbor, your family members, people that you go to church with, or you're a part of clubs. If you sit on boards, if you're a board member of something, past colleagues that you've worked with, if you have kids or grandkids in sports, and those people that are around that community that you've gotten to know, all those people are in your sphere. When you approach them and when you reach out to them correctly with the right framework and you do it consistently over time, amazing things can happen in building the referral process to get in front of the right people. Now, there's more, but what I just shared, honestly, you could just do one of all of them done well over time consistently, you can go crush it. Here's the mistake. Very important for you to understand. Here's the mistake that so many people make. They dabble. What does that mean? Well, if they were going to do the workshop thing, they planned one and did no more. They got distracted. If they were going to do networking, they went to a couple of events and they weren't prepared. And then they got distracted. If they were going to work to their sphere of influence, they connected with some folks here and there. They went to a lunch or a coffee, but they stopped. They got distracted. What will happen is I did the workshop thing. For some reason, that one week I woke up and thought, you know what? The sphere of influence stuff is a lot better. Go over here and play around in here. You know what? I should be going to networking events. And they'll go over here. And then they ping pong around and they dabble. So we typically, in most cases, not all, there is no 100% of anything, is that we encourage just choose a couple and master them. So for instance, if you chose a workshop strategy, we have two different strategies, a small one and a large one. We want to see you plan 10, 15, 20 of them over a period of time. And think about it. Do you think that you're going to be better at the first one or the 15th one? Right? So that's the purpose of repetition. Repetition is the bedrock of mastery. So if you just do it a couple of times, then you're expecting the earth to shake. Not going to happen. You got to lean in and be repetitive. If you're going to go the networking realm, do you think that you're going to know more people your second time or your 32nd time? If you went the sphere of influence route, do you think that you're going to connect to a lot more people in your 5th conversation or your 500th conversation? And so when we do things in repetition consistently over time, and we're just going to get better. You'll learn a lot. Feedback, your confidence, you get clients from it. Like the avalanche just happens, but it won't happen if you just sit in your office and you stare at your screen and you get distracted. So if the question is, where do leads come from? In other words, where do I build relationships? Where do I add value? Where do I lean in and be a part of the community, both either, globally through the internet, if you will, or, online, Facebook, whatever, or in your local market. Now, just for context, no doubt that local will always be a better play than online. Why? You can develop faster relationships. It doesn't mean it doesn't work, so please don't hear that. You can develop faster relationships, and you don't need that many clients. With the average coach charging around $2,000 per month for one-on-one, there's more ways to do it, of course. It's math, depending on what your goals are and what you want to earn. So there you go. If you're curious, where do I lean in? Where do I add value? How does it work? All you have to do is make a decision. Again, I want to extend the invitation to you if you're interested in learning more about what we do with our collaborative business coaching system that's done with you. We'd love to chat with you, have a simple conversation. That's all that it is. We'll share with you exactly how it works and give you a chance to determine if you believe it's worth learning more about or not. All right? Take care.